Hello everyone, MeNoHaxor here, bringing us a new video on understanding champion matchups and learning how to abuse power spikes. I'm using Soraka as my main champion for this video because I think that it's really clear that Soraka has strengths and weaknesses at different points in the lane, and I'm going to be demonstrating how you can turn lane matchups where you're not necessarily favored into winnable positions for you guys, where you can win the lane consistently. So in this matchup, this game has Misfortune and Soraka against a Tristana Alistar. Now, we're not necessarily in a bad matchup, at least for the first few levels. I think for levels 1 and 2, Misfortune and Soraka are easily stronger than Tristana Alistar. But once level 3 and onward happens, it gets a little dicey because Alistar has really strong all-in potential. And coupled with a Tristana who can just jump in at any time, if I basically get comboed by an Alistar, I just lose the lane 100%. So the way I have to play this matchup is that I really have to abuse the fact that I'm stronger level 1 and 2, and I have to harass and poke them so much to the point where they can't all in us level 3 onward because they're too low in health. And so at the start of the lane, I'm going to focus on just running up at them and trying to zone them off as much as possible. Since we didn't have to give a leash for our jungler, Evelyn started red side, we can get to lane first, and we get to see what they do. So we know right off the bat that since they did not show up in lane, that means that they're giving a leash to their Nocturne, which is really good information. Because one, we know that Nocturne went red, he's gonna path the blue, he's gonna try to take Scuttle up here eventually. So we know he's not gonna be bot for at least the first couple minutes. I'd be surprised if he came here before 4 minutes, because that means his jungle pathing was really strange. But since they just came back from giving the leash, you can already see how Misfortune and I are already in a position where we're just gonna start hitting them and harassing them out of CS range. Like, Alistar is so useless level 1. You want to make sure that you really abuse the fact that Alistar cannot touch you at all. He's basically a minion right now. And I'm trying to focus most of my intention on just harassing Tristana. Because if I can harass Tristana out of the lane, then she can actually all-in us, because she's going to die as she jumps into Misfortune. So I'm going to do my best to try to keep throwing out some Qs to zone them. I could probably do a better job at hitting my Qs. Maybe try throwing a Q on Alistar instead of focusing on Tristana. But you can see just by myself, I'm zoning out 2 people. And that's how you really want to play Soraka. You really want to just be up in their face with Star Call because you're so strong level 1. I'm not even going to level up heal anytime soon in this lane since I know we're so far ahead. I'm just going to keep on just throwing Qs out, throwing some E's out whenever I can. And also, it's good to be mindful of your mana flow bind charges, because if you want to conserve a little bit of mana, you can try to time some of your spells so that when your mana flow is up, you can just throw a spell out and try to proc it as often as possible. You can see under turret, yeah, I'm throwing out some Qs every now and then and trying to back out of turret range. And when I'm not doing that, I'm just trying to auto the turret just to get as much chip damage as possible. Because ultimately, we do want to take the turret first as soon as possible. Once again, it's only level 2, so I'm going to keep on harassing them. Hit a creep back there to help Misfortune proc her Q off. She got a really good bounce on Alistar, which is great. Because now Alistar is out of pots already. They're going to hit level 3 reasonably soon because we just hit level 3. And you can see how low they are now. And even though they technically are stronger at level 3, they can't fight us anymore. Like, Alistar just has to recall right now because they can't stay in lane anymore. They're going to keep losing more and more if they keep staying low. Keep staying with really low health under a turret. This is probably the last wave they can afford to stay. Because you can see right now, we're just dumping so much damage on this turret. Throwing out more Qs, throwing out more Es. Look how low they are. And since this is a cannon wave, this is definitely the best time for them to go back, because they'll lose the least amount by backing on a cannon wave. So I just wanted to expend all my charges on Spell Leave, and now we're going to recall as well. Because we could save for one more wave and greed out a little bit, but we'd rather just back off right now, because now the lane is slowly pushing back towards us because of the timing of when we went back. And we have to spend our money in order to actually be stronger than them. So we do have to go back. We can't just stay in lane forever. I think it's a big mistake that a lot of people make, is that they build a lead, but they don't actually recall. You should always recall, at least when you have a lead, so that way you can spend your money on it. Because now if you look at the item discrepancy, Tristana got refillable longsword. Meanwhile, Misfortune got 2 longswords, boots, and she kept her pot. And Alistar could only buy boots, whereas I got a Frostfang and a Pink Ward. So now, just in terms of combat stats, we're really far ahead. And right now is a little scary because since the lane is kind of set back to neutral, if they just all in us immediately, it might be close. We might die, but I do have exhaust, so I don't think I'll die, but I'll probably have to expend a lot of summoner spells. So we're playing really far back. We know they're missing. We don't know where they are. They probably want to go roam mid or something like that. That's what a lot of bot lanes like to do. So you can see how Misfortune is really positioned far back. I'm positioned more up front, just because if we do get all in, it's a little bit more okay for me to tank the brunt of the damage, whereas because Misfortune can dish out the DPS. So I'm just trying to check with Star Call, seeing if they approach. I think they're gonna come back right now. Cool. And you can see I'm already just fighting them right now. I think if I were the Alistar, I would have tried to fight right here because they just saw me expend my silence. So I would have tried to at least go for the harass. But we see Nocturne went up top. So we know Nocturne's top, so that gives us the signal where we can just push. We know we're not going to get ganked. They just expended ult. So you can see I'm already harassing them all over again. We didn't want to we didn't want to push furthermore because Fizz was picking that Cassiopeia was missing for a little bit, but she actually stayed mid, so we're like, okay, that's fine. We'll just wait one more wave. There's no rush. This is a cannon wave, so we are looking to try to push, and I see that they're playing really far back, which does tell me that there's a really low chance that Nocturne's actually here, because if the jungler was here, I think to be playing a lot more aggressively. But since they're playing so far back, like they're just getting zoned by CS now, they can't really do much. I'm pretty much zoning them 1v2 once again. Just throwing out Qs, star calls, throwing out E's whenever I can. Like they can't do anything. Like the lane is pretty much lost from this point. Now they've really lost their window to engage because they're like slowly losing health. Alistar's way too low to fight. Misfortune just ults this wave just to push faster. We get a really nice chunk on them again. And we're not even killing them. We're just zoning them off. And we get the first turret. Not even 10 minutes yet. I'm going to go ahead and help Evelyn with Dragon, and then I'm going to recall. So you can see, this is a really good example of how there was no jungle intervention bot lane, and just from the fact that we played super aggressively from the start, harassed them under turret at the early levels, we were able to generate a lead, and now we got our lead, we can run top, we can help snowball the game. So this is just the first game I wanted to show because I think it's clear that Tristana Alistar isn't the strongest comp in the early levels. They could be stronger later, but the fact that we harassed them so much at the start of the lane meant that they never really had a good window for us to all in us. I think maybe when we were sitting around here, that was probably the only window they had where they were at full health and they could have fought us, but they didn't take that window, and because of that, they slowly kept losing the lane more to the point where they couldn't all in us anymore, and then they just completely crumbled. So now I'm going to show you guys a second game where a little bit of a different situation happens. So here's a new game. It's a little bit of a different team comp. It's Ezreal Soraka versus a Swain Nautilus. Now this lane that we're against is much scarier than the first game, namely because Nautilus has way longer reach than an Alistar. At least against an Alistar, the headbutt range is not as long as a Nautilus hook. So I could afford to play much more aggressively at the early levels because I know that Alistar can't really fight me until level 3. But since Nautilus has hook, and most Nautiluses will take their Q level 1, I do have to be a lot more careful. And as long as I really make sure I juke as best as possible, I can keep going for Star Call harasses level 1. Swain also generally takes the E level 1, like the snare, so I do have to be pretty careful. But even if I do get snared, I'm pretty sure I won't die. Like I get pulled back, Nautilus misses his hook, but even if I got hooked there, I wasn't gonna die. They don't have that much damage level 1. They just have good CC. You can see because I know that Nautilus hook is down, I'm going to start running up and start queuing more. And the fact that they did not give a leash meant that Kha'Zix started top side, which is a little scary. So I know I want to get a ward down probably around like 240, 250 is my ideal goal when I want to get a ward down. Because that's generally around the time when Kha'Zix is level 3 and he already cleared both buffs. So you can see we're just trying to shove them under turret right now. We know we're a little bit stronger. We're going to get level 2 first. Got a lot of good harass on the Swain, which is nice. And now this is where things get a little scary. So Kha'Zix is actually looping down right now to gank, which is honestly quite unexpected because he's only level 2, which is why I never went for the ward just yet. I was going to go for the ward right after this wave, actually. So this is really good timing on their part. And Nautilus immediately goes for the flash into a hook, and then Swain pulls me back. So now I'm in a pretty bad spot, because I actually didn't see Kha'Zix until about now. So at this point, you have to make a really crucial decision right now, because I pretty much know I'm dead. Like 100% sure I'm dead. I already expended my flash. Kha'Zix is right here. What do you do right now? And so if I choose to try to live to my best of my ability by walking downward this way, that's not really going to do much, because I'll definitely die in this scenario. And I'm going to be putting Ezreal in a really bad spot where he most likely has to burn his flash also, because they're just going to turn on Ezreal afterwards. So the best thing I can do in this situation is that I'm just going to actually walk over to the right towards this direction, away from Ezreal, because if they choose to go for the kill on me, at least Ezreal has a complete safe route where he can just walk away. And, I'll try to do as much damage as I can before I die. So I've pretty much resigned my death. I know I made a mistake. That's okay. So you can see I'm going to walk this way, try to get them to come to me. I'm going to try to throw out more star calls, just harass them as much as possible. Because you can see even Nautilus knows that he wants to go for the play on Ezreal after I die, right? So that's why he even saved his hook to try to go for the Ezreal, like, as I'm dying. But you can see right now that they're a little uncoordinated. Like, they all assume that Swain is just going to kill me, which is why they just start diving towards Ezreal. But I actually live for quite a long time. And I get a lot of damage off before I die. Now Kha'Zix is too low because he's only level 2. Ezreal goes for a flash on this. He also gets the kill on Nautilus, but he goes down. So that was actually a really good trade on our part. It was, 2v3. We still got 2 kills, and that was mostly due to the fact that, one, they got a little bit greedy trying to spoon feed the kill to Swain. I think if they just all bursted me down, they at least would have guaranteed 1 kill, no deaths. But they got a little bit greedy trying to spoon feed the kill over to Swain. And because of that, I was able to do probably about 300 more damage in this fight, just from my Qs alone and auto attacks. And that was enough to barely give Ezreal both kills. So that was really well played on me and Ezreal's part. I'll admit that I should have put a ward earlier, but I was going to put the ward right after that wave. It was just a very weird timing by Kha'Zix to come, because I think if Kha'Zix actually got level 3 and came, I think their skirmish would have been a lot better. I also note that I still have my exhaust up. I didn't use my exhaust because I know I was going to die anyways. Ezreal kind of does like a weird TP. I don't know what he's doing here, but because I did save my exhaust, I exhausted the Swain who flashed in here, so we actually got a return kill from that, which is kind of nice. So it was good that I didn't use exhaust there. Once again, didn't use it because I know I was going to die anyways. And now, even though like this is inherently a bad matchup for us, like we're actually in a really good spot. Ezreal got a tier, so he can harass a lot more. And as long as we continue harassing them without getting all in, we'll just win this lane 100%. So you can see I'm already back into a very aggressive position, throwing out silences, Qs whenever I can. I do have red buff also, which is kind of nice, so I can get a lot of health regen for free. That's kind of the nice part about red buff on supports. And you can see Graves is also looping around, so now I want to try to bait them into fighting us. Their Kha'Zix even has the same idea to gank bot, because he knows that all our sums are down, so whoever wins, if our whoever gets a kill in this bot lane is going to be super, super far ahead, because there's no TP, no sums, should be really easy kills. So I'm going for some pretty strong harass. I juke the hook to the right, which is really important. And now we get even more harass on them, which is good. Okay, I didn't juke this route, which is pretty bad. I get pulled in, but once again, I'm just going to Q, kite back. I have so much health regen. I'm checking a health pot and a red buff. And I lived for so long. And because of that, we were able to get some return kills. They overcommit. We're so far ahead now. This is so good for us. Once again, we're just going to try to push as much as possible. Get the wave into a good spot. I'm just going to expend my Frostfang charges. And I'm going to back off. Kill the pink. Go ahead and leave. I'll also leave a Trinket Ward in this bush. So now, like, we're pretty far ahead. Ezreal has 3 kills. Swain has 2, but we still are stronger because we have the tier Sheen. We can harass from really far away. And as long as, once again, we don't get all in immediately, we'll win this lane. 100%. I'm trying to ping the TF to go back. The bot lane roamed once again because they shoved out the wave. But because they shoved, that means that we can shove right now. And ideally, when you lane with an Ezreal, it's pretty good to get them under turret, because when the last hitting under turret, Ezreal can get a lot of free Q procs off. So you do want to generally try to be on the pushing side when you're with an Ezreal. So we get some ward coverage first, and then once we know that we're really safe with this ward coverage, then we can go for harass under turret. You can see like just my E poke, Ezreal's poke is just really chipping on Swain. And once again, we're going for Swain because if the Swain is too low to fight, that's most of their DPS. They're not going to win the all-in, even if Nautilus is full health. So I'm really going to try to poke out Swain as much as possible. You can see I'm getting so much harass in. And now they're at the point where they can't fight us anymore. Like, that was a nice hook on the Ezreal by the Nautilus, but, you know, no follow-up because the Swain is just too low. He can't fight anymore. And I even almost killed the Swain just from harass alone. They have to back now. Graves even just comes in. He's level 6. He pretty much gets a free kill with that ult. Goes for a kill on Nautilus. I don't get the heal on him, which kind of sucks, but once again, we harassed them so much with our lead that we're able to just take this first turret. It's going to fall just this right in this upcoming wave, which is kind of nice. So, long story short, once again, this lane is not super favored for us initially, but the fact that we got that 2v3 kill at the beginning and then continuously harassed them to the point where even if they got a nice pick like CC on us when we're so far pushed up, they can't do anything anymore. And that's really just because I understood the fact that I have to just keep on harassing them, make sure I don't get CC by anything, and making sure they're low enough to the point where they can't all in us. And I was able to turn this somewhat like I don't think anyone thinks Nautilus can lose against Soraka easily because Nautilus has so much reach potential, but because I was able to abuse my timing windows of when I'm strong against Nautilus, we're able to generate a lead and we're able to get first turret once again right before 10 minutes. So I thought this was two good games to demonstrate like how to press your advantage and to really abuse the fact that at least for Soraka, you're strong early. And if you can keep on snowballing the lead you generate early, you can continue to dominate the lane and win the game. So I hope you found this very informative. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll see you guys later.